Welcome back to The Point. Well, is the NFL really the no future league?
Every year, over 100,000 concussions occur in all levels of football. And 60% of these are from head-to-head collisions. In an impact lasting just 15 milliseconds, a player's head, on average, experiences almost 100 Gs of force. And collisions on special teams can result in forces of up to 190 Gs. In the NFL, the average speed of a head-to-head impact, the velocity of both heads combined, is 20 miles per hour, with the struck player's head decelerating 14 miles per hour. According to studies done by Sports Science's chief medical advisor, Dr. Basil Aish, this 15 millisecond impact is equivalent to getting smashed in the head with a sledgehammer.
That was a difficult video to watch, and concussions are often talked about when it has to do with the NFL and injuries that some of these athletes have to deal with. But the Washington Post did a survey of retired NFL players, and they found out a lot of really incredible information about the other injuries that these athletes had to deal with for the rest of their lives. So a Washington Post survey of retired NFL players found that nearly 9 in 10 report suffering from aches and pains on a daily basis, and they overwhelmingly, 91%, connect nearly all their pains to football. 9 in 10 said that they're happy they played the sport, but fewer than half would recommend their own children play it today. 9 in 10 former NFL players report suffering concussions while playing, and nearly 6 in 10 reported 3 or more. 2 in 3 who had concussions said they experienced continuing symptoms for them, and the list goes on and on. I mean, they go through a lot of physically taxing games, and as a result, they have to really pay for it for the rest of their lives. Dave, what do you think about the extent of these long-term health issues? And is it really worth the trade-off? They'll make the argument that, hey, you know what? I made enough money to take care of my family, and that's just the trade-off.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not worth the trade-off, because I think the craziest number that you just said there was that less than half would tell their children to do it. Keep in mind, this is a job where these people are making millions of dollars, if not multi-millions, then at least 6 figures. The lowest end guys are making 6 figures. So when you think about that and that they're still telling their kids not to do it, it's kind of fascinating. I think that this, unfortunately, is one of those things that is not going to go away, because even as the technology around the helmets and the padding and all that stuff advances and gets better, our athletes are still getting stronger. And as they use human growth stuff and steroids and all this other stuff, and that which will keep getting more legal, actually. I know, it's getting out of the game now, but I think ultimately all of this stuff that can enhance us, especially in athletics, is going to become more mainstream over time. It's not going to balance itself out. This is just going to be, and it's our way of getting our aggression. People watch football to get their aggression out.
Yeah.
So there are going to be repercussions around the guys that are doing it.
Bread and circuses is essentially what you're saying here, is that, we have to keep the populace engaged and release all of their stress and tensions by being able to watch these, men at war down on the field, on the gridiron, so they can fight to get out all of that. And yet there is this long-term problem that we have all helped to create for these players. Yeah, granted, they do get paid a lot of money, but I don't know that they get paid the amount of money to compensate for their lifetime of injuries. And, the workmen, the journeyman players, that 6-figure income, I don't know if that's enough to sustain them when they have the body of a 70-year-old or a 65-year-old when they're in their late 30s, and they'll need a lifetime of medical care. And this country is not set up for that, and neither is, I don't think the Players Union has any kind of protection for them, do they?
If you think about like Rome and in the Colosseum, this is such a modern problem that we have, because they got it out because a guy would get mauled by a lion, so you didn't have to worry about his long-term health.
Exactly.
Or have his head chopped off.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So we still need that part of us is still human to us. But yeah, dealing with like the long-term stuff, well, back in the day, they just didn't have to think about it.
Yeah, well, in terms of compensation, rookie football players can make as little, and I say little because of the context of this conversation. Obviously, professional athletes make a lot of money, but rookie players enter the league making about $400,000 a year, and some of them don't get to the level where they're making millions of dollars. So they get so injured while they're rookies that's the payoff. I mean, you get, a couple $100,000, and then your career is done because you've suffered a serious injury. Another problem that comes up often in the NFL is your contract will say, you know, if you don't play every single game, you're not going to get paid. So if you do get injured, you know, you have to tough it out and go through with it. And it's just a really bad way to, or it's the worst way to treat your body. Peter, what are your thoughts? Like, what is an ACLU lawyer's perspective on this story?
I don't think the ACLU exactly has a position on NFL injuries. I mean, but I do think one of my concerns is not just the issue with professional NFL athletes. I mean, obviously there should be more studies and you know, transparency. Yeah, that's an ACLU issue about exactly how these injuries are being caused and how serious they are. But I think, you know, one of the concerns is the injuries and potential for injuries at lower levels, at the non-professional levels, like college, high school, you know, even, you know, middle school football, right? What kind of injuries are kids and being exposed to by their parents, their schools that are having them play these sports?
How should this impact a fan's enjoyment of the sport? Should it have an impact at all?
I mean, I think we all like to think when we're rooting for our teams that you know, we love our players. We like to think that they're being treated well, that they love the game, and that they're not you know, going to come upon a lifetime of pain and injury as the result of our enjoyment. So I think that, you know, it is going to affect the way people watch.
But there's also a difference, though, between watching a football game and someone getting crushed, and then they're laying there because they're in padding. You know what I mean? They're in a helmet. You actually don't see them. If you watch a basketball game and like that guy Kevin Ware who had that horrible leg injury, like you saw it so graphically because he's in. You actually physically see more of his body, and I think that also changes it. There's something that you can kind of disassociate with the football players because you can't really see them, or the hockey players. You really never see their faces, so they get slashed or they get crushed, and it's almost like you're watching a robot or a video game or something instead of an actual person.
So is there a solution to all of this? I mean, we can't ban the NFL. We can't ban football. Americans love it so much. And I'm not even saying that we should ban it, but what should the solution be? I mean, the nature of the sport is pretty violent. I mean, that's just the way it is. They tackle each other, they jump on top of each other.
Well, I think it depends on more information. You know, as we're hearing more about these issues, you know, that I don't think anybody really even considered at any great length before these reports all came out. So that's good. I think getting the fans interested. The fans will probably be the ones to lead this conversation, because if they actually do care about the people that entertain them in professional athletics, that they will actually want to do something about that. I think that most Americans don't want people to be hurt on their behalf for entertainment. I really don't believe that when you ask them and when they think about it, they would prefer that to happen. The disassociation, you know, it makes it easier. You don't have to think about what you're doing or the consequences of the choices that you make. But given the opportunity, I think most Americans would want to be on the good side of making sure that these people have some sort of protection.
I actually don't think people care. I really don't think people care. Look at
than you do.
Well, I think we do intellectually. We all do. Nobody. If you ask the average person, do you want to see your favorite football player, you know, be a vegetable when he's 60? Of course, they're going to say no. But look at Muhammad Ali. I don't know that they've ever directly connected. I think he has Parkinson's, to being punched in the head constantly, but we still bring him out as if it's this amazing thing, but like this thing that we love watching get punched, and look what happened. So I just don't see that we're going to suddenly have this mass revelation and be like, no more football.
Well, I don't know. Maybe with more information, that is, because, you know, we didn't have that information with Muhammad Ali during the heyday of his career. People sort of made the connection, but maybe not. And now we have that data, and as the data piles up, I think it will become an inescapable conclusion.
I think that, you know, the point that you and Peter are making about the flow of information is a very good point. I think it's important. But I will say that I agree with Dave. I'd like to believe that people would care, but people are very interested and self-absorbed. Like, they're self-interested and self-absorbed. And I know that that's a very mean thing to say, but it's the truth. I mean, the information about the concussions has been out there for a while, and nothing has changed so far. But, you know, maybe I'm being way too pessimistic and something will change.